Come on over here. Work on some stays. Turn you look like this. Good. She's just working for her lunch. Getting used to dragging that leash. She's not a fan of that. Stay. I'm just going to work on head turns first because she's very wiggly and she tends to want to move her whole body. When I was trying to move away or around her, she would get up just to kind of track my movement. So I usually start off her stays like this and just kind of get her warmed up to where she's just turning her head. Good. Good. And I'm just clicking each head turn. I don't know if the audio and video are synced up, but I'm clicking at the moment she's turning her head. Sometimes the camera on the Wi-Fi doesn't sync up. My network is kind of slow. There you go. So she seems pretty settled in that spot. I'm going to move away, clicking on return. I'm going to move away again. And I'll just get a little bit further each time. This is harder for her to do in a public space because she gets a little nervous about you abandoning her. So it's going to take some work for her to be as solid in a public place or a new environment. She's going to get up, make mistakes, probably run to you. I'm going to return over here. Very good. So every time I click, I'm returning, and that just lets her know, hey, I left you, but I'm going to come back. I click, and I'm paying her for basically staying in this position. And then at some point, we're going to release her. All right. Good job. And I can pay her for getting up. That was good. You're like a good girl. Yeah. Okay. All right, Lucy. So we're going to do another stay here. Lucy, down. You are a little slower on this one. Down. There you go. Good girl. So if she's real slow on her downs, which she kind of is typically, all right, I'm going to actually just work her on some repetitions so we can get her doing it faster. Lucy, down. Good girl. I don't know if that right hip, bothers her where she was injured. All right. She typically kind of protects it, I think. Sit. Lucy. Yeah. Down. I mean, she pretty much always wants to lay on her left side. I think you guys said it was her right hip. I could be wrong about that. It's just what I've noticed with her. All right. But she's not the fastest dog at laying down, and if she had any damage, I mean, down, it's very possible that she's just not going to be a super fast dog to lay down. All right. Good. Let me do it this way. Get her where she's facing us. Sit. Down. And if she doesn't, I might give her a little tug on the leash. Give her a leash cue. Good. She's not quite as strong on the verbal cue for down. All right. She does typically do better with the hand signal or the leash cue. It's getting better with the verbal, but I don't know. She's just kind of struggled with that. Down. And so I think you were going to do it. I know. I don't think I needed to step on that leash. All right. And so she doesn't lay down in like a sphinx position. She's always kind of on her side. You'll notice her kind of lean away. All right. Ready? Down. Okay. So she's pretty much always on that left hip. Good girl. Good job. Okay. So I think she's at least knowing what we're going to do now. So I'm going to go ahead and tell her to stay. Stay. I'll wave my hand in front of her because she is at my side. If I was facing her, I would just, I'm going to do it for the camera, I would just go ahead and wave like this in front of her. If she's next to me, I'll pretend camera's the dog. I'm basically just doing the same thing. Okay. And now I'm going to move around. That was a nice little head turn. And I'll put the treat between her feet. If you don't lean over when you give her her food, when she's in a down position, if you keep the food here up high, she's going to have to reach upwards, which means you're encouraging her to break the down to get the reward. And that might create some issues for you later on. So just bring it right down, either right into her mouth, or I just like to do it between their paws. So you'll start to notice her staring at her paws quite a bit, waiting for the next treat to fall there. It didn't click, but I can still return. You're not always going to have your clicker. And when it went click, she heard another dog making noise. That's usually when she starts barking, when she hears a noise. She's still, very vocal, especially like if somebody suddenly comes in, if my husband was to come in, whether she's kenneled or on her cot or just out, she'll just immediately kind of grumble and growl. And then when she realizes who it is, she calms down. In fact, she is usually pretty excited to see him. But I think you're going to see that reaction where essentially she reacts first and thinks about what's happening later instead of kind of assessing the situation and then reacting. She's just very emotional. So, I mean, as soon as something happens, she's pretty vocal about it. But she's gotten better. I try to interrupt it a lot. You can use the collar, even if you just use it on the vibrate setting on the pager. Or just give her a verbal, I use the word enough. I really just don't want to allow her to growl and continue on too much. I don't mind a little bit of it. Kind of tells me what her emotional state is. And allows her to communicate that in case I need to jump in and assist her and get her out of that situation. But at the same time, if you just allow them to keep growling and grumbling, if the person leaves, she's going to start thinking that she controlled the situation with her growling. So I don't want that to continue for too long. She can tell me, what she's thinking about a situation, and then after that, I need to jump in and we need to either help her out, give her some sort of verbal correction or interruption with the collar, something. That way she doesn't get in the habit of just growling, and barking at everything she hates. Which right now is pretty much anything new or something that startles her. You're doing good. This has taken quite a bit, actually. Lucy, come! Good job. There you go. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but I can't tell you. She would just hesitate or run the other way if I called her. She would run into her kennel. She was outside. She would run towards the other dogs. She just sit. She didn't want to come. It didn't matter what kind of treats I had. So this took a while. Stay. Didn't have you locked in. There you go. So I'm just going to get her back in place. Lucy, come! I'm going to wait until she gives me that little auto sit and then give me a handful of food. Try to finish this lunch off. Good job. Lucy, come! And I'll call her as well when she's not always in the stay, because that's usually when you're going to call them anyhow. Okay? All right, go get it. Go get it. She'll get that leash dragon. Let me take it off for a minute. Let's do that. Let's just take that off. All right, Lucy. Yeah. Get the treat. We'll let her eat those, and I'm going to call her. Lucy, come! Good. As soon as I see her make her little way to me, and it's usually just the first step, the head turn towards me, because I like to call them where they're actually not looking at me quite a bit, to get them used to coming off a distraction. But as soon as she turns around or takes that first step towards me, that's what I'm clicking, okay? Because most of the time, if you click that, they will follow through and come all the way to you to get their reward. If you wait to click only when they get to you, some of these dogs will get distracted, they'll stop, they'll, come halfway and then redirect. All right, go get it. Okay, go get it. I'm going to throw a bunch of treats. Especially if she's outside and there's other things to do. So I like to click that very first step in my direction. I'm just going to keep tossing food. I usually try to toss food kind of in a corner like that. and then I can sneak off while they're busy and go into another room if I want to and call her from longer distances when I'm working inside. I'm going to throw a bunch out here. I just kind of want to keep her busy while I'm talking on the camera. And then I'm going to find my moment and I'm going to call her. Lucy, come! Yay! Good job! And, hey, you forgot the last little part. There you go. So she sat. I can click at the end too as well if I would like, but I really want to make sure I click that first step first. All right, go get it. And I'll let her go over there, take her time. She can clean up some of this food. So these are just cookie toss games that you can do, working on your recall, especially if you're working just by yourself. There is so much food in that corner. Go get it. She has a hard time finding it. Gotta hunt it out. There you go. Lucy, come! Yay! There you go, and I'll click that little sit, and I'll give her a handful of food. So we'll just play this game many times. Again, throwing the food allows me to give her distraction. It also allows me to be able to sneak off, and then I'm calling her when she's not looking at me and she's not ready. When she's in a stay, that basically is her just waiting to be released. So that's not as difficult a scenario to call your dog out of compared to when your dog is running around, chasing something, playing with other dogs. So this is just kind of a way to simulate that. I could use a ball too, but I don't want her. Some dogs, she likes toys, but she likes to chew. So if they're not really into fetch or anything like that, then it might not be what you want to use as your distraction. For some dogs I will, but if it gets them too amped up in the house, then I won't. All right, go. Lucy, go get it. All right, there you go. I think she's getting tired. We're almost out of food anyway. She's almost cleaned me out. So I'm basically trying to have her work for her breakfast, lunch, dinner. I mean, I take what she needs for the entire day, and then I just kind of draw from that stash all day long as I'm working repetitions with her. If there's anything left over at the end of the day, then I go ahead and just give it to her in a bowl. I was sometimes using the treat and train for her as well to work, maybe on a stay. She likes that as well. So, but anyway, I really want her working more for her food because that's going to help instill a good work ethic. It's going to help you build a relationship, and eventually you won't have to do so much of that once you've really developed these good habits and she's listening to you the way you would like her to. But for right now, I don't want to give her free food all the time because then she has no motivation to listen to me. So, okay. That's it for now. She's sniffing dog food. That's not yours. Lucy, come. Good girl. Very good.